Hello everyone, it's with great pain that I have to make this video, but today I'm going to be looking at the top 5 candidates that are earmarked to possibly replace Jurgen Klopp at the end of this season. If you've been on the internet today or in the last couple of days by the time you're seeing this, you will have heard the news that Jurgen Klopp is leaving Liverpool at the end of his season. Uh, he had the contract extension until 2026. He put out the statement on the Liverpool channel, the interview, and honestly, like I feel a lot worse now that some time has passed. A bit more devastated on all fronts, but I figured it's a good time, no other time to kind of look at it. Because like he said, he doesn't want to make the final end of the season about him. So looking forward, I figured this is a good time to give my initial thoughts with the moment of on how Liverpool might progress. Video on Jurgen Klopp will be out come the end of the season on my kind of just general total thoughts of him. I haven't obviously made a video on this channel where he hasn't been manager. I've been watching Liverpool since before Jurgen, since before Brendan, during the days of Rafa Benitez. And, you know, you look at it now and there's a lot of transition at Liverpool, a lot of question marks, and hopefully I could answer some in the way that Liverpool might approach the stewardship of the managerial appointment moving forward. So let's get stuck into it. I'm going to look at the odds, and that's going to be the order in which we'll discuss them. We're going to start with the least likely candidate that is got the highest odds out of everybody else, but not out of these four other people. But in fifth place, the least likely of these five, but the most likely out of anyone else to replace Jurgen Klopp. In fifth place, we have Ange Postecoglou at 16 to 1. So listen, Jurgen Klopp wants to leave Liverpool due to feeling burnt out, due to feeling, kind of less energy, due to maybe not having some sense of normality in his life. And while in many respects, you can look at this and say, well, it makes sense. Ange Postecoglou plays a attacking brand of football. He has a very specific, uh, you know, lovable charm. I'd say similar to Jurgen Klopp. He's a Liverpool fan, and it might seem like something that's huge. The the thing is, I just don't see it working only because of the context of it all. Like replacing one 50 odd year old manager with another 50-year old or so manager isn't necessarily, I think, the best move. It'd be looked at from a weird perspective, I think, because while Jurgen has every right, to take his own personal life into account and figure out how he wants to live his life, um, and he has the right to make those choices. At the same time, do you want to replace such a, you know, legendary and awe-inspiring figure with someone who, he could Ange Postecoglou could come in and do a job, I would imagine, like tactically speaking, but how long can he do it? You only get say 4, 5 years out of Ange. Is it worth it? Jurgen's been here for 9. I don't know if anyone on this list will make it to 9. I don't know if the next manager will make it to 9 years. Be a very tough ask. You'd have to really even over exceed any great expectations you might already have, but I'm gonna put that as very unlikely. But and I also wouldn't want to see it because it would just kind of make a weird rivalry between Tottenham and Liverpool that I don't think is necessary entirely. The next most likely candidate to replace Jurgen Klopp at 12 to 1 is Julian Nagelsmann. Julian Nagelsmann is a fantastic player. Nagelsmann is, I said player, he's a fantastic manager. He got the sack at Bayern after some controversies. Now he's with the German national team. He's going to lead them into the Euros most likely. Klopp has already said that he's not going to take any managerial positions on for at least a year. So in that way, like, how will that play out? Will, Nagelsmann be comfortable leaving the German post after the Euros? How will that affect the season going into next? Who takes over Germany after that? Because you would expect maybe Klopp would have a crack or a go at the German national team job in a couple years time maybe, but if he's not there for the Euros and Nagelsmann's there, but then Nagelsmann leaves after the Euros, even with success or failure, it's kind of like a weird move. I don't really rate it entirely. I do rate Nagelsmann, but I don't know how it would work because you'd want a preseason. You'd want uh, time to sit down with the ownership and discuss, plans moving forward, players to sign, tactical philosophy, etc., etc., etc. Nagelsmann currently feels like he's at a place where a lot of those discussions, while I mean he does have some more free time as a national team boss, he's got the Euros ahead of him, and that's probably going to be one of the biggest, uh, you know, periods of time in his career. If you look at it, he's a very fairly young manager, and he's looking to take his country to European glory. And I mean, it's a lot of stress. I don't know if he could focus on planning for Liverpool or any sort of stuff like that. So that's a fair assessment for him. Next at number 3, and listen, this is just the odds. Also at 12-1. I personally, I wouldn't want this to happen. And I'm going to lay it out in a few reasons, at least for now, why I wouldn't want it to happen. Um, Steven Gerrard is tied on odds with Julian Nagelsmann. Nagelsmann is, a manager who had to, due to injury, he retired and he came into management. And he's a great footballing mind and he's excelled at it and he's worked his way up. No offense to Stevie, besides Rangers, he's not done too great at any other job he's managed. He's uh, he's managed at Aston Villa. He failed. Now he's at Al Ettifaq. It's not going so well, even though he extended it to an additional couple of years with a contract extension. It's very much a weird move, and I'm just going to be very blunt about this and keep it short. Steven Gerrard is my favorite Liverpool player of all time. Um, he's my favorite midfielder of all time. It's tight towards the top for favorite player, but he's got to etch it out because I mean I've seen him play from the jump when I was watching, and it had a big impact on me. His legacy at the club is beautiful, it's storied. I would love to see him manage the club. As of right now, his CV is, I'm going to keep this entirely honest. It is not the standard of Liverpool. It is not the standard of a Premier League side. He needs to do some proper groundwork with, building up a foundation at a meaningful team, not in the Saudi Pro League that's effectively an exhibition league. And I would, I would really not be okay with this because it would just put a lot of things at risk. It put the image of Liverpool at risk. It put the image and managerial capabilities of Steven Gerrard put into the forefront as like an even more stark question. I don't see. He's a legend, but he's not fit to manage the club at this point in time. I just don't see it. Next at 11-2 odds, Roberto De Zerbi. De Zerbi has managed, he's managed in Italy, he's managed in Ukraine with Shakhtar Donetsk. He's now doing wonderful stuff at Brighton. Obviously, a bit of a rough season so far for Brighton. Very similar tactical style to Klopp. Not entirely the same, but Brighton love to, kind of dominate possession, kind of open up sides, have, win back the ball, run hard, play hard, just give it your all. That stylistically has the amount of energy I think Liverpool would want. I mean, De Zerbi on the touch line, when you see him react to some of his goals, it's vintage. It's just wonderful stuff. It's in terms of style, in terms of personality, De Zerbi is better than everybody on this list. I think. I think he fits the best. Obviously, Steven Gerrard is Liverpool through and through. He is without a doubt a red, but in terms of his capabilities as a manager, it's so misaligned. He could have, his entire heart and soul times 20 in it. And if he's not, capable of managing a season properly and, bringing some success, then I don't think Stevie will work for De Zerbi. You could make the argument that there's a good chance that he's also maybe not up to snuff in terms of the top caliber of what you would expect out of a Liverpool manager. But yeah, I wouldn't mind De Zerbi. My number one pick at first place, along with the odds-on favorite at 4-7 to replace Jurgen Klopp come end of the season for Liverpool, is none other than Xabi Alonso. Xabi Alonso is my second favorite Liverpool midfielder of all time, and if he stayed, might have been my first. I love Xabi Alonso. He is a champagne footballer who's won it all that has to win. He's got an incredible level of experience. His father was a manager. He's wanted by the likes of Real Madrid, Bayern. If Liverpool don't get Xabi, I see it as an L, personally. I don't think that the Zerbi would fail. I just think it'd be a bit rockier with the Zerbi. Xabi Alonso knows the standard of Liverpool. He's won a Champions League with the club. He's spoken very highly of Liverpool as a city. He's even stated after leaving Real Madrid that Liverpool felt more like, a second home than Madrid did. So, in many respects, Xabi has a deep, deep love for the club. But he has also been kind of like how do I say this? He's been a very self-aware person throughout his managerial career, and he hasn't wanted to necessarily jump into anything that feels a little too premature. He was at Real Sociedad, now he's at Leverkusen. He's been there for the season. Does he want to take that leap after just 1 year? I mean, if he wins the Bundesliga, which, they're at the top of the table right now. They've won 15 out of their first 18 matches. They're unbeaten as well. They're 4 points ahead of Bayern. If he wins it there, do you go again in the Bundesliga, or do you go and, carry on with Liverpool? I would love Xabi Alonso. I realize that, maybe things won't be perfect in this transition. Jurgen Klopp has been kind of the glue that has kept everything together for a very long time in Liverpool. So seeing him leave will be rough. Let me know who your favorite option on this list is, who you would want to replace Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool, and just your general thoughts on Jurgen leaving. Once again, there will be a video later in the season once he's, the season's done and everything's dusted. I'll put out kind of like a Jurgen Klopp, retrospective and kind of a look back at his whole kind of time here at Liverpool. Once again, thank you so much, Jurgen. I know you're not watching, but it really has been an incredible ride, and it's not quite over yet. So hopefully Liverpool can give it their all, win as many trophies as possible for the rest of the season, and finish Jurgen Klopp's tenure on a very, very high note. Thank you once again, Jurgen. Let's see who ends up trying to fill these ginormous shoes that he's going to leave behind. But thank you so much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you enjoyed. You'll never walk alone. I'm Sideline Sedo. Peace.